Morning guys, Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School, back with another in our series of common man sustainability type arms. Okay, and what I want to show you today is this is a Barnett Wildcat crossbow. It's just a fiberglass bow. It's not compound, it's basically a recurve, and it's got a wooden stock, very simple trigger mechanism. It's got adjustable sights for elevation and windage. Also has adjustable pin sights on the front. It has two bolts on the side that probably had some kind of a cocking stirrup on the front that's missing. I've just tied a piece of paracord on there for the time being. I'll go ahead and forge another stirrup for it. The simplicity of something like this is that if the string were to break, you're probably not going to break this piece of fiberglass. And if the string were to break, you could make another string from bank line very easily for this bow if you had to. That makes it a pretty good choice for a self-reliance type weapon. Now, here's the real kicker, okay? Price. I got this at a gun show for $25. $25 for this Barnett Wildcat crossbow, okay? Nothing fancy. It's a very old wooden non-compound crossbow, but it is a 150-pound draw. It's plenty to kill anything up to and including a deer. I've got a couple arrows here that I fashioned very quickly from older arrows that I used to use with my bow, and all I did was cut them off at the back. I cut the knock points off of them and rounded them over with a file so that they wouldn't split out, and cut them to length and put a couple field tips on them. These are 11/32 or 11/16 cedar arrows. You could go buy wooden dowel rods, you could cut saplings, you can make ammunition for this bow very, very easily. You could use duct tape for fletchings, you could use bottle glass or some kind of scrap metal for broadheads if you wanted to. An spent casing on the front would make a very good blunt point for small game and things like that. But a weapon like this that's silent for the most part compared to a gun, very efficient, easy to aim, the repeatability is easy. And when I'm looking at equipment, you know, I've got this acronym that I use quite a bit called FARMD. Okay, it's F-A-R-M-D. The F stands for functionality, and that refers more to multifunctionality than anything else. And the multifunctionality of this is that it will take a variety of game, from small game all the way to large game. So it makes up for several calibers if I were carrying a firearm. Then you have affordability. Affordability depends on what you can afford. 25 bucks, almost anybody can afford that. And you can make the arrows basically for free. So you have a very affordable weapon. The R stands for repeatability. Am I able to use this weapon and get the same results every time I shoot it? Well, that depends on the quality, that depends on my ability and my skill level, but with practice, I should be repeatable with this weapon. So that brings us to the M, and the M is maintainability. How easy is this maintenance on this weapon? Well, it's very simple. It has a very simple device on it that just needs to be oiled here for the cocking mechanism. It has a few metal parts on it that need to be taken care of with some type of fat lard or something like that. And it has a string that has to be maintained with wax. Fixing wax will do the job just fine, as well as coon tallow, deer tallow, things like that. All of those things will work, and then you can maintain the stock the same way as your wood axe handle or anything else with oils and waxes and things like that. So the maintenance of this weapon is very low. It has a very good maintainability factor. And then the D stands for durability. How durable is this thing going to be? If I drop it, bang it around, bump it, beat on it, bang it against a tree, drop it onto the rocks, things like that, how durable is this weapon? Well, this piece of fiberglass is very durable. You're not going to break that. It has one bolt that holds it in the front. If you're not going to take it apart, you're not going to take a chance on stripping that out. The overall wood stock is going to be very durable. I would guess that this crossbow is probably at least 20 years old, maybe more. Probably seen some use, it's got some scratches on it, things like that. So the durability factor of this weapon is pretty good as well. So that's how I kind of look at things that I'm going to put in my kit. That's one of the acronyms I used, FARMD. I look at the functionality, I look at the affordability, I look at, you know, the repeatability, the durability, and then I look at the maintainability of that weapon or that item. And if they all are pretty good, then that's going to be something I'm going to add to my kit. So this might be something I would put into a longer term kit where I had a vehicle, a four-wheeler, a horse, a cart, a buggy, a sled, a canoe, something where I could carry an extra weapon with me other than my firearm. This would probably be a very, very good choice because it's very simple to master in skill. It takes a lot more skill to shoot something with a bow than it does a crossbow. A crossbow is very similar to shooting any other shouldered weapon like a rifle or a shotgun. So you're used to doing that already if you're familiar with firearms. It makes it very, very accurate and very easy. So we're going to take these two arrows I just made up this morning real quick, and I've got a raccoon target over here, and we're going to try to sight this thing in a little bit. We'll start at about 10 yards and we'll move our way back to about 25, and we'll see how accurate this thing is over distance, because I figure if at 25 yards I can hit a raccoon-sized target, at 25 yards I can kill a deer. Stay with me, guys. Okay, guys, so I'm going to back up a little bit behind the camera. I've got the camera about probably 7 yards away. I'm going to back up behind the camera and fire. We'll try to get this thing sighted in. I'm going to aim center mass to begin with. I've got all the sights pretty much centered and everything up and down, elevation, windage, everything centered. We'll see what happens here. Okay, looks to me like that thing shot high and to the left, which the high part's not a big deal at this distance. The left is. So we'll move it right a little bit, a couple clicks. Very simple to do on this thing. It has a very simple mechanism right here. It has turn dials, and I'm going to move this to the right. 1, 2, 3 clicks. That will move it this way, which will put the arrow the opposite direction. It absolutely buried that arrow for sure in that target at 10 yards. Okay, real quick, let's talk about cocking this weapon. Like I said, this thing is a 150-pound crossbow. I put a loop on the bottom of it to hold it on my foot in lieu of the stirrup. But this thing's no picnic to try to cock. It would take a pretty strong kid to be able to cock that. Then it's as simple as dropping the arrow in with the cock feather down, sliding it backwards, pushing the safety off, and firing the crossbow. So we're going to stay at the same distance, check our windage adjustment, and see what happens. All right, still shooting high, still shooting a little left. We'll bring it in just a little bit more. It wasn't much left. It's almost center mass. We just need to bring it maybe one more click, and then we're going to aim low on the next shot. Well, again, high and left. A couple more clicks. Okay, we're going to call this the final adjustment before we move. I know where it's hitting. I want it to hit a little bit high, this close, but I'd rather it be a little bit more to the right for sure. Okay, that's not bad. That ain't horrible. We'll take that and move back. Okay guys, we're going to double the distance this time. Go to 20 yards. So let's back her up. Zoom in on it as best I can. You're not going to be able to see this very well from this distance, for sure. We can put one in here. I'm going to be real happy. Okay, that shot was high, but it was a spine shot. I may have jerked the trigger on that, I'm not sure. We'll give her one more shot and find out. Okay guys, if we're hitting a raccoon-sized target with this thing at 20 yards, you know, 4 or 5 shots out of the box, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to have to work with it, make some more adjustments, get my technique down a little better. I'm not a crossbow guy for the most part, but this thing could make me become one pretty quick, I think. Real simple, light, easy thing to shoot and carry. Doesn't hardly weigh anything. It's not like the big heavy fiberglass mechanical things they have now with the wheels all over them. You know, those things are just god-awful to try to carry through the woods. This thing's pretty light. This thing doesn't weigh near what my 22 weighs, even as far as my 22 rifle goes. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate everything you do for me, for my family, for my school. I'll be back with another video as soon as I can in this Common Man series on sustainable weapons for hunting and gathering meat.